I would like to make a quick drawing exercise with you today. So please take the paper and the pencil you have been given. Don't worry, it's going to be something very simple. Do you know the 3-question game? This is going to be something similar. I'm going to give you around 20 seconds for each exercise. Ready? Okay, here comes the first one. I want you to draw a penis. I'm serious, it's probably not the first time. It doesn't need to be hyper-realistic. A simple sketch will do. Okay? Very nice. Are we done with this one? Here is the second exercise. Now, I would like you to draw a vulva. So, what you see from the outside. You're not laughing so much. It's not so easy. You don't get to cheat, okay? Just concentrate on your own drawing. For the last exercise, I would like you to draw the form of a vagina. The vagina is the inside of the vulva. How do you imagine that? All right, time's up. Please put your pencils down. How was it? I would like you to take a look on the last drawing. How many of you have drawn the vagina as an inverted U, like a closed hole, like the sheath of a sword? You can raise your hands up if you want. None? Well, I see someone, okay. Well, when I was 27 years old, I discovered my vagina actually looks like this. Did you know it looked like that? No? Well, how are you feeling? Well, how are you feeling now in general? Is this already too awkward? Is this being a little bit uncomfortable? Someone feeling embarrassed? Well, that's normal. So I am Sandra, this is my vagina, and today I'm here to talk about how I tend to break taboo subjects through my artwork. You're probably wondering why I make you do all this. So, the day I discovered my cervix, I thought about my biology teacher at school. I remember he spent an entire class drawing a huge penis in the blackboard, explaining us everything, its shape, its function, the different diseases it could contract. However, I do not remember such a class for female anatomy. Why? Was it maybe inappropriate to talk about the vagina in such a detail? Could this be considered immoral or indecent? Do you want to know how I felt? Well, I felt angry and powerless. How is it possible I didn't know my own anatomy? Is anyone else feeling like that today? This is how I normally choose the subject of my works. I learned something new, I don't understand why I didn't know this already, and I share it to see if I am the only one feeling like this. For my art, I normally choose topics related to the body, especially female body, its connotations, taboo, and gender issues through performance and installation where the involvement of the audience is essential. But we will talk about this later. Even if things are changing, the education I had, like most of my generation, was still quite conservative and not sufficiently advanced in terms of rights and gender equality. And this is something that has definitely marked my own trajectory as an artist. I wanted to do something new. I wanted to experiment with new subjects, unconventional materials, but very soon I was going to find out that many projects I wanted to do were not going to be very sociable acceptable. And that's why today I'm here to talk about two very powerful feelings I am sure you have all experienced at some point in your life. Guilt and shame. These two are adaptive and evolutionary mechanisms that we learn through education and culture. Shame teaches us what is considered to be acceptable or not within a group. And in the moment we internalized these rules, we became a member of the group. Till here, everything is clear, right? I mean, it sounds very practical. But what happened when guilt and shame are used against our own body? What happened when, in the course of our development, we are constantly seeing and receiving a negative reaction to certain natural behaviors, especially things we can control, or hair, or sweat, or blood? Gender plays a big role in this part. Gender defines what society expects us to be. Cover yourself, close your legs, don't cry, grow up some hair in those armpits, shave those armpits. If we don't fit into these patterns, we might end up developing a feeling of rejection, even disgust towards our own body. There is also, or at least there was, a huge silence surrounding these issues, because apparently it was also not very acceptable to talk about them. Excuse me? Yeah. Sorry, do you have a tampon? Yes, because I'm with my period right now, but no one must know. Can someone relate to this? Well, this is what we call taboo. Through my artwork, I try to put the spotlight on these matters, trying to open a room where these pre-thoughts or these pre-ideas can be discussed, and how can we discover new perspectives. But how do I do this? Well, this is a little bit more complicated to understand, but I brought some works as examples to make things a little bit easier. I'm going to start from the very beginning. So, as I said before, I wanted to experiment with non-conventional materials. I was fascinated by organic materials, materials which were not static and transform over time. So I started experimenting with red wine. Red wine could be also a representation of blood. Red wine have a very strong symbolism that is directly related to it. So I started making printings on paper. They were just steins, abstract steins, that try to imitate the form of some organs and human tissue. And I kept doing these kind of experiments until I found out about molecular cuisine. Molecular kitchen allow us, through chemical and physical transformations, to give shape to almost any liquid. We could do spheres, caviar, spaghetti, jelly, even foam. Of course, at the beginning, I thought I could do this with red wine. But what was the point? I mean, red wine is a very common element in gastronomy. So since red wine can represent blood, I decided to step forward and start experimenting with bodily fluids. For a group exhibition in Vienna, I presented 6 marble pedestals with 6 ceramic spoons on the top, holding 6 spheres made out of different materials, such as blood, menstruation blood, saliva, sweat, sperm, and urine. If you think about it, we are all familiar with this substance. They are our essence, or nature, when they are inside of the body. But what happens when they are expelled? They become something despicable, disgusting, horrifying. What happens if we take these materials and we present them in a uniform body again? What happens if we could represent them in an uniform, in an orderly way again? Can they become something beautiful? And these are the kind of questions I try to bring up to the table. As format of my art, I try always to choose performance and installations. Why? Because I consider them to be the most efficient way to connect with an audience. It demands an unavoidable confrontation between the work and the spectator. I mean, just remember how this talk started. All my works began as experiments, almost social experiments. I have no idea how people is going to react before I present them. But this is exactly what it interests me the most. And your reaction has been shaping my work from the very beginning. How do you imagine people actually reacted to the exhibition we just saw? I also had no clue before the presentation. But this is what happened. Moved by the clean and delicate aesthetic in which these materials were presented, people came very close to the work. They felt very attracted to it. They approached me and asked me things like, "Are these cherries? Are these lychees? Is this something edible?" Well, when they discover the actual nature of this substance, attraction turned into disgust like this in a matter of seconds. Even imagining or desiring putting one of these spheres in their mouth provokes in most of the spectators a feeling of guilt and shame. Probably because even after discovering the truth, the attraction of the form has not disappeared completely. Even after discovering these were body fluids, I saw people putting their noses 2 centimeters away to smell them, to touch them. I was so stressed. Like, I spent the whole exhibition taking care that they wouldn't break. These spheres are super delicate inside, they're still liquid. So here is exactly the point when the spectators start changing my works in the future. Here's what I realized. I should not avoid people from touching my work. I should allow them and work with this reaction. So with this idea in mind, I wanted to present a more resistant material for another exhibition. And this is how I came out with first plate. Vaginal fluid caviar presented on a ceramic plate. And it happened exactly as I predicted. People came, and without asking, they stick their finger inside of the plate without even asking. Of course, the feedback was all kinds. Some people liked it, some of them laughed about it, but a lot of people got angry. They told me I had no shame. However, when this happened, I always take it as a success because I know I'm striking a chord within them, touching on something much deeper. But you know what I realized? No one reacted like that when I presented a sphere of sperm in a spoon. That's weird. So this duality might have led me to investigate on other topics such as sexual desire and how female masturbation is still a taboo. For another group exhibition, I presented Female Masturbatorium, a room where women could donate their own vaginal fluid. By this time, I was already making a research on fertility clinics and their methods. I was very amused to find out that these clinics had actually a room where is specifically for sperm donors, full with magazines, erotic movies, tissues. So for my exhibition, I tried to reproduce the female version of that room, how that might look like. This exhibition was, in fact, a competition for a prize. So together with another 4 artists, we had to present all of our work in front of a jury and a public who will decide who will be the winner. Among the other candidates, there was also the artist and performer Domino Pitel. I remember one member of the jury asked her why her work was feminist if she appeared half naked in most of her performances. About my work, he just said, "This is just about masturbation." So again, a reaction inspired another idea. We definitely didn't get the prize. But 2 weeks later, Domino and I presented a collaboration performance called Beach Fight. Tired of the competition, the absurd competition between women, and trying to address the body shaming issue, we built up a boxing ring where we tattooed the word shame on each other's legs while I was bleeding from my period and she was wearing a beauty mask that made her drawl continuously. Performing with another female artist was for me a revelation. Together, I had the feeling we dare to go forward. In my last recent works, I started an investigation on egg freezing and donation, the desire to become a mother, and the commodification of female body in particular. This practice has become more and more common in the past years. So trying to answer the question, why would someone donate or freeze their eggs, I interviewed women who had undergone these treatments, and I simplified their answers in a 28 canvases series. Here are some examples. I'm going to donate my eggs to collect the 2,000 reward so I can be able to pay my university fees. I'm going to freeze my eggs because I want to be alone, but not forever. I'm going to freeze my eggs because patriarchy says I must have children, but capitalism says not now. I always wanted for my art to create an impact, to be meaningful, something that will not leave you indifferent. I believe art had not only that power, but that responsibility. It's not always easy. Shame is everything we learn not to talk about. But when we re-embrace our own shame, we cancel out its destructive power, and this leads us to empowerment. Let's not be afraid to turn that which makes us vulnerable into our best working tool. Keep yourself challenged. Uncomfortable situations is where growing and learning begin. Thank you.